As you know, we've been restoring this 1915 Massey steam hammer, and in doing so, we have made a lot of waste. We completely recut this dovetail in this 1.5 ton anvil block, and the result was many pounds of cast iron machine chips. I also machined this giant block of steel into a bottom die, and oh my goodness, look at all this stuff. We've just got kilos and kilos, absolutely tons of these gorgeous blue and grey chips from that honkin' face mill. And I want to find out, can we make Damascus steel from these 4140 milling chips? Can I forge weld back together these cast iron machining chips? And what happens if I combine them together? So there's 3 tranches to this experiment, and it's all gonna start by making up some cans. All right, that's a big tube of chips right there. This is our 4140, in England known as EN19. Let's load her up. Oh, there's dog hairs too. Look, that is definitely one of Yogo's hairs. There is no way to prove if this is an important component or not. So if it works, you're going to need to get yourself a golden retriever and make sure that a few stray hairs are here if you want to try it at home. So I'm loading up the chips inside this little can of mild steel. The reason for it is, as you can see, it's all very loose. Can't just put that under the power hammer and start squishing it because it's going to go everywhere. So what you do is you make a can, you put it all in there, you squeeze it together, you then heat this up to a forge welding temperature, and then you can squish it together. And while it's all loose, it's being supported by this can so that it doesn't fly everywhere, with the added benefit of also minimizing the amount of oxygen that's in contact with these things as they heat up, so there's less oxides and a greater chance of it welding together. You've seen me use this technique all sorts of times over the years. One of the really important things, however, is going to be compressing as much of this stuff in there as possible, so there's as little air. And obviously these chips have a lot of air inside of them, inside the little curly cues. So I'm gonna get the hydraulic press going. Bloody unwired. God, how convenient. Right when I need it.
This is what happens when you take the plug off something when you need it. Instead of just getting more plugs.
I know. I stole the plug, used it for something else, and here we are. Oh, get some. That's hilarious. Wow, this is gonna compress a lot.
You want to stand in front of it in case it just goes back?
Yeah. How am I gonna get this out? It's stuck. It compressed so much. That's amazing. Okay, that's about as tight as we can get it. It took 1.5 of these glass jars to fill up that tiny pot. So I'm gonna put this plate in. We're gonna squish it down as far as we can, tack weld it, and seal it up. Look at that, we got it sunk real deep in there. 25 tons of force holding all those chips together. Woo! Let's light the fire and see if 4140 chips forge weld together. Here we go! Woo! Oh my lord! That is so soft. There is nothing solid about that. God, it feels like I'm forging a gummy bear, and it almost looks like it too. Right? Oh, that's feeling more solid. Heat 2. More solid this time around. It was a lot mushier on the last heat. There's hope, folks. Oh, yes! Okay, so the 4340 chips definitely feel like they forged into a homogeneous block. We're gonna let this cool down before we peel it open and see what it looks like on the inside. Right, I'm beginning to work up a sweat, which makes me very, very happy because it is the perfect time to tell you about today's sponsor. It's Element! There is nothing I love more than getting outside and being active, which is why I am so bloody glad that Element exists, because it's exactly what I have been searching for. It's a zero-sugar electrolyte drink mix, and its formulation was born from a growing body of research that suggests that optimal health outcomes occur from more salt, not less salt. And as you know, you get sweaty whether you're out climbing a mountain, going for a run, getting bit by a dog, or working in a hot and sweaty workshop. In order to hydrate properly, you need to take on electrolytes. So here's the deal. The drink mix comes in these sticks. Mix it with between 16 to 32 ounces of water, depending on how salty you want it. And it has been so bloody difficult to not absolutely decimate the supply of electrolytes they have provided us before filming this ad, because it is delicious. They've got an insane lineup of flavors. And what I think is an absolute winner, grapefruit salt. And so here's the deal they got going for you guys. If you go to drinklmnt.com/forge, you're going to get a free sample pack that contains one of every flavor they make with any purchase that you make. If you don't love it, they will give you your money back and just say, hey, give the product you don't like to one of your salty friends and let them enjoy it. You are going to love this. Thank you, Element, for sponsoring this video. Now, we're going to pour our cast iron chips in for this billet. This stuff looks a lot denser. It looks a lot more like powder than chips, which is good. It means we're gonna have to compress a lot less of it. But the big question is, will it forge well? You're not really meant to be able to forge cast iron, but I wanna see if you start with it in powder form and then get it really hot, will it stick together? I don't care if we can't forge anything crazy elaborate out of it. Can we even put it back into a block? It'd be really fascinating, and I don't expect that it's gonna be possible with the cast iron. Whoa! Yeah, that compressed like halfway down. Almost feels like we've sintered cast iron. Like, it feels like fiberboard. It's very, very solid, but it's got a tiny little bit of give. It won't come out. Again, I'm gonna put the cap on the inside, squish it down, and then close up the little lip. Now that is super strange. Why is it on fire while I'm welding it? Tell you what though, I am not feeling confident that this is gonna forge weld. Have a look at those welds, Jamie. Even just the presence of the cast iron nearby has meant that this MIG weld just is completely filled with porosity. Even just having it nearby. So forge welding, I think, is gonna be a no-no. We'll find out. All right, I've had it preheating on the back of the forge. Into the fire we go with the cast iron. Whoa! That is ridiculous. You see the flame coming off that thing? Frickin', I've never seen dragon's breath like that come out of a forge. I bet that's probably because at one point I was cutting the cast iron on the power hammer with some cutting oil. So there's probably some cutting oil mixed in with those chips. Attempt number one. Whoa! You see that? Woo! Oh my goodness. Oh, look, Jamie! You see that? That's ridiculous. Whoa. I've never seen anything like it. It went liquid. Heat number two. Oh, wow. It's dribbling. Oh my goodness. Oh no. Oh no. Wow.
Does it feel solid then? Is it welded?
Yeah, it's definitely welded. Can't you tell? Yeah, that's a no. I think we've quite definitively found you cannot weld together cast iron powder. I do think, however, I've made a fish sculpture. What do you think?
Looks more like a yellow submarine.
Okay, wait, but check this out, Jamie. We have melted the cast iron. There is molten cast iron in the forge right now. I have never, ever melted iron in a gas forge, but that right there is a puddle of molten iron. Oh my goodness, that is so wild. I didn't know that was possible. Yeah, that forge is hot today, folks. So, with no question about that anymore. Let's see, does adding some 4140 chips do anything at all to maybe work as some sort of binder between the cast iron powder, getting it to stick? It's time for the mix. Little dash of that, little sprinkle of this. How about I do a little mixing? All right, let's close up this mix. 4140 and cast iron chips. Let's try it. Slightly lower temperature than the last one. Oh, it is not feeling solid. Okay, back to the forge. Woo! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no way! Look at that, it's just oozing out of there. Nothing is consolidating. Oh! It's just still powder. Wow! Look at it pouring out here. Isn't that pretty? Oh! At least it has one thing going for it, it's very pretty. I'd be lying if I didn't say I was a bit sad. Oh, listen. Do you hear that, Jamie? It sounds like bloody bacon's frying. I was really hoping that at least the mixed one would kind of stick. It hasn't, though. So all we've got is the 4140 chip canister. Let's break into it, see what she looks like. It doesn't look like it's made up of tiny little chunks of curly whirlies, does it? It looks pretty homogeneous. You can see at the very top a little remnant of the jacket that the canister was made up out of. That's all I can really spot, though. I tell you what, guys, this is something I forgot to say in that last Power Hammer video where we were machining the dies. I am absolutely thrilled with this face mill. I've only just started using these round insert face mills, and they're bloody phenomenal. I haven't changed these inserts once, and they made all of that milling swarf on the ground. Till I got that stuff, I was using these triangular inserts. These things wear out quick. For the hogging, that big time material removal, by our standards, that we had to do on this block, round insert face mill is the answer. I don't know why though. I tried doing a little bit of Googling to find out what is the difference in like performance? Where are the pros and cons for a round insert face mill, triangular face mill, all the other different inserts? Couldn't find out. Love to hear from you down below. All I know is for me, this thing worked a treat. I mean, look at that thing go. That's a 0.8 millimeter cut. Eating it up. If we gather up all these chips that are made from chips, we could make more chips from chips from chips. That's a very healthy cut. That's a millimeter deep.
It looks like you can kind of see dots.
Yeah, it ever so slightly looks porous. Like it's not just a perfectly clean bit of steel. There's tiny, tiny little dots in there where, I don't know, air gaps, little oxidation. There are some tiny little dots, but it looks, to the naked eye, pretty damn good. Now, what am I expecting to see? Well, hopefully not a whole lot, because if it's homogeneous, and it is made out of those 4140 chips, there shouldn't be anything to contrast with other than any remnants of the mild steel jacket.
Ooh, something's happening.
You can see something from your angle?
I think it might just be pooling the liquid on the top. Oh no, that's the bloody jacket, isn't it?
Yeah. So you've got the jacket around the outside. You can see that looks different. But there is a mystery dark spot there. And I wonder if maybe, oh, I tell you what, we also did some machining on the top die.
Not at the same time though, it was afterwards.
No, but some of these chips might have been from something else picked up on the floor. You don't think that looks a little bit wavy, Jim? I think there's some wavy pattern. You want to put the macro on? You seen the texture I'm seeing? Interestingly, there's some wavy little wormy stuff going on in there. So maybe some other alloys got in the mix of the stuff that we picked up? Or maybe it's just the little signs of oxidation around the chips, giving little individual pieces a faint little shadow. I'm not exactly sure. Here's what I think, Jamie. I think this block of steel, we need to turn into a plaque. This machine has been restored on this date, and I think that we should install the plaque on this machine when it is done. It'll be a plaque made of itself. Well, technically made of its bottom die, but there's semantics. I really bloody hope that you go and try today's sponsor, Element. I absolutely love the product. I love the company. Added bonus, they're based in Bozeman, Montana. Special place in my heart. I think you're gonna love the flavors they've got. Go to drinklmnt.com/forge. You supporting our sponsors helps us be able to make these videos and restore this power hammer. And I'm so grateful for your time watching this as we experimented today. Bye-bye.